back at it. I'm back.
Evil Dead Rise. I fucking love this movie.
So good.
Finally, Evil Dead is back.
Yes!
The Evil Dead franchise is up there as one of my favorite horror movies franchise. Right up there next to the Scream movies and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Yes, even the bad ones. And it's been 10 years since the last film.
Oh, damn! I'm sorry.
Of course, the Evil Dead franchise hasn't been exactly dead. There was a TV show, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which no one watched.
Oh my god.
I watched the first couple episodes when it came out, and then I completely forgot about it. And then I bought the Blu-ray for the first season like a long time ago, and I never watched it until like last year. Honestly, outside that show, I don't really know how much Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, how much their influence over their series is when it comes to the movies. Outside of being executive producers, this movie, just like the last movie, does not have Sam Raimi doing directing or writing. And I remember liking that last Evil Dead movie. I don't remember it too well, but I do remember loving that chainsaw scene at the end of the movie. Yeah! And this Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Rise, is directed by Lee Cronin, who has directed a few short films and one feature film before this. Now, I have not seen his short films, but I did watch the movie he did before this, The Hole in the Wall, which is one of the most boring horror movies I've seen in a while, which had me a little bit worried for this movie. It's a movie about a single mom in a small town and her kid gets possessed. Trust me, you've seen this movie before. It's not worth watching. I also reviewed this movie on Letterboxd, and if you're interested, maybe check it out. Give me a follow, maybe, please. But I guess that movie was just warm up for this movie, because this movie is great.
Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him cook!
Lee Cronin manages to make an Evil Dead movie that not only honors the movies that Sam Raimi did, but he adds his own spin to the franchise.
This evil creates terror through total chaos.
It's not just the directing that was good in this. I thought the editing, the sound design and the makeup was also really great in this. It all comes together. The movie even managed to subvert my expectations in the beginning. It starts off making you think it's going to take place in a cabin in the woods, just like the previous Evil Dead movies does. But no, it actually takes place in an apartment building complex that's about to be torn down. So you follow this family and a few of the other apartment residents. And at first I thought this was a little strange because they're not cut off from the world like in previous Evil Dead movies. But the movie still manages to work with the premise of them being actually trapped in this apartment building after an earthquake. So they're still cut off. And after this earthquake happens, they of course find the Book of the Dead, and reading from it causes the evil to be unleashed and possessed demon foolery arises. The Deadites are some of my favorite movie monsters. Usually when you have possessed humans in movies, they can either go two ways. Either they're really cringy and not scary at all, or they're nightmare fuel. But I think what makes the Deadites work so much in Evil Dead is because they talk shit to you the whole time.
Mom?
Mommy's with the maggots now.
They also play like psychological mind games on top of that as well. One minute you might be thinking you're talking to your loved one still, and next they're trying to kill you. And what's even scarier, you never know who might be possessed. Another thing about the Deadites is you can't just kill them. You can't just shoot them in the head like a zombie. No, you pretty much have to go full on Dead Space with these guys and cut off the limbs and dismember them, which is easier said than done. This movie has a lot of body horror in it, and thankfully they did not skip out on the blood. It would not have been Evil Dead if we did not have mountains and mountains of blood in this movie. There's even a scene in this movie that I'm pretty sure is a reference to The Shining. This movie is really just non-stop. Right after they introduce the family and they read from the book, it just goes and goes from there. You get from kill to the very end. The last 30 minutes of this movie, I really did have just a smile on my face, while at the same time trying not to look at the screen as characters were getting objects stabbed in their eyes, or stabbed in their throats, or stabbed in their stomachs. If you're a little squeamish, probably not the best movie to go see. And I just can't get over the ending to this movie. I really don't want to spoil it at all. You really have to see it for yourself. Basically, there is like a monster fusion at the end of this, and what emerges is like something straight out of Silent Hill. If I was a kid, this would give me literal nightmare fuel. And of course, you might be wondering, hey Nate, is there a chainsaw scene in this movie? Yes, there is a chainsaw scene in this movie.
Yes!
I was kind of actually worried for a second because they didn't set it up at all.
Holy crap! You are creepy as shit, sneaking up on me.
But once it shows up, I had a smile on my face. The movie's also kind of unintentionally funny. I mean, the Evil Dead movies have always been kind of over top and ridiculous, especially with Bruce Campbell in them. And there's definitely parts of this movie where I found myself kind of unintentionally laughing, as well as the guy next to me who's sitting in the theater. Overall, Evil Dead Rise is a great another addition to the Evil Dead franchise, whether you're a fan or you're a newcomer. And this movie seems like it's setting up more Evil Dead movies to come. So instead of waiting 10 years, we might actually see more in the upcoming years, which would be nice. I wouldn't mind seeing more Evil Dead movies. And that's really all I have to say about this movie. Definitely go check it out. And I might also consider talking about the TV show Ash vs. Evil Dead. I wanted to start a series on this channel called Canceled Too Soon, where I talk about canceled TV shows. And I never got around finishing Ash vs. Evil Dead, so that might be a fun one to talk about. Mostly because I do want to talk about more TV shows on this channel, as opposed to just talking about movies. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know in the comments below. And also consider liking this video, and hitting that subscribe button for more content in the future. Once again, this is Infinite Repeat. I've been Nate. Stay up.